Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Alfonso Moretti, aka the Angry Trainer, and I would like to welcome you to the first 2012 Angry Trainer Chat. As you guys know, we're in a new year. I'm sure many of you have resolutions, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to stick to the plan because so many of you have the greatest intentions and it just doesn't end up working out for you. First, of course, I want to thank my partners, Fit Studio, uh, obviously powered by Sears Fitness, Discovery Fit and Health, as well as Men's Fitness, Vibrams, and of course Fitfluential, which if you don't know, I'm now an ambassador for Fitfluential. So I want to welcome everybody to the chat and hope you're all having a lovely evening. So today we're talking about sticking to a plan and resolutions. And the biggest issue here is that you all have great expectations, really. You're trying to achieve something on a plan, but the biggest mistake that I see people make is that they don't stick to the plan. And you have to learn how to stick to a plan. That's one of the biggest problems that I see. So number one, you have to have a plan. That's key. Number two, you then have to stick to it. So I always say, and this is a big saying of mine, I always say that failure is a success. And the reason why failure is a success is because success will teach us what doesn't work. If you know what doesn't work, then you can figure out what does work. It's almost like process of elimination. That's generally the way I go about trying to figure out how things work and how don't. So what my biggest recommendation is going to be for people is going to be to see, I need for everyone that I train, they need to write things down. I need to see exactly what it is they're doing. And this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is that they don't write things down. They don't, I always say, how can you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? If you don't know where you are, well then how do you know where you want to go? You want to go from A to B, but you don't have a direct path on how to get there. You have to figure these things out yourself. And a lot of times, our want it now attitude is one of the biggest problems that fuels failure, to be perfectly honest with you. Failure is more common than success when it comes to achieving your fitness goals. It really is. I meet more people that fail on their program than succeed. And when I look at the common threads amongst all of them, it all amounts to the same thing. They don't stick to it. They just don't stick to the plan. And one of the biggest reasons is that they expect too much too soon. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. How come I haven't lost all the weight I want to lose? How come I'm not seeing all of these weight changes that I want to see? Why am I not seeing the changes that I'm looking to see? And the answer is simple. It's just not enough time. It's not enough time to figure out what's going on. You can't expect that in a week or two. You can't expect that you're going to see remarkable changes. And truthfully, if you do see remarkable changes within 1 week's time frame, the chances are you did something seriously extreme. And I always say, the more extreme a plan is, the more extreme a diet is, the more extreme your workout regimen is going to be, the less likely you're going to be to maintain it. So what I always tell people is you need 4 weeks. You have to give yourself 4 weeks to really judge whether or not a plan is going to work, especially if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, if you're someone who's trying to gain strength. I mean, really, your body just doesn't adapt that quickly that you're going to see these miraculous results overnight. So one, you need to have realistic expectations, and that's key across the board. Of course, everybody wants to look like a supermodel. Everybody wants to look like the people they see on TV. And I'm not saying that that's unrealistic, but if you're 40, 50 pounds overweight, if you're out of shape, you're deconditioned, if your goal is to run a 5K or a marathon and you've never run a day in your life, well, then you need to set smaller goals and go along the way. That's part of the plan. You need to have a plan. Now, realistic expectations are great, but you can't abandon them. Like I said, you need to stick to them for at least 1 to 4 weeks, 4 weeks, through weeks 1 through 4, and then reevaluate where you are at the month mark. Once you figure out where you are at the month mark, then you can kind of decide whether or not things are working for you. So here's some tips. Get a calendar. Calendars are really, really important. I know this sounds silly, and I'm going to be honest with you in that I didn't always use a calendar. I figured here I am, I'm a fitness professional. I don't need to write down my workouts. I don't need to, plan things out. But, as the days go on, things kind of like blend together. You need to map things out. Get yourself a big calendar and write your days of workout in. Plan your workouts. Make sure that your workouts are scheduled in there. Your rest days are in there. Everything is planned. This way, when you wake up in the morning, there's no guesswork. Am I going to the gym today? Is today a rest day? What am I going to train today? I've recently started doing this because I found myself going to the gym and I found myself working out for hours on end. Why? Because it felt good. I like to work out. But truthfully, it wasn't good for my body. So what I did is I set up a calendar. And I have my weight training days. I have days that I'm doing functional training, endurance training, conditioning training. And now I can kind of see the cycle of training that I have going on. Now I know what I'm doing. It's not a guess. It's not a, well, I feel like doing this today. Calendars they're definitely a necessity. Put it in your bedroom. Put it in your bathroom so when you wake up in the morning, you go brush your teeth. It's right there taped to the wall. If you're on a diet and you're looking to eat healthy, put it in the kitchen on the fridge so that when you go to the fridge, you have reminders to yourself. I have somebody here who's asking a question. They say, how often should you change up your workouts? This goes along with sticking to the plan. You need to stick to the plan, again, like I said, for 4 weeks. I mean, you can't expect any significant results within in under 4 weeks. I mean, are you going to see some changes? Of course you'll see some changes. But the biggest problem I see is people abandon the plan. You can't abandon the plan. Let me say that again. You cannot abandon the plan. You must see a plan through. Even if it's a bad plan, see it through because it's going to teach you what doesn't work for you. You'll be able then to check things off the list, check the strategy off the list, and then you'll know going forward, you know what? I tried this in the past. It didn't work for me. But if you don't write it down, I promise you, you're going to forget. Everyone forgets. I forget. If you don't write down what you did and what you're eating, you're going to forget. When people are trying to lose weight, I tell, in my head, in this head right here, is a ton of information. And I can tell you honestly that throughout the years, I've had the ability in my brain to help people lose weight and get in shape. And I can tell you honestly, the number of people that take advantage of it is this big. And do you know why? Because they don't want to put the work in. When I tell people, they come to me and they say, hey, Alfonso, I know you really know a lot about nutrition. Do you think you could put me on a diet plan? Sure, of course I can put you on a diet plan. Here's what I need you to do for me. I need you to carry around a little piece of paper with you, and for the next week or 2 weeks, I need you to write down everything that you eat. Do you know how many people do that? Zero. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry, I'm lying. I've had one person in all my years actually take the time and write down. It's too much work for them. That's ridiculous. Okay, so this is the time where you want to put your money where your mouth is. If you're interested in changing your body, if you're interested in changing your life, if you're interested in becoming healthier and fitter, well then you know what? Take 2 freaking weeks and write down what you eat because then you'll know what you're doing. People go through life, they're like wandering. They eat a little bit here, they eat a little bit there, they stop at McDonald's. But truthfully, most people have no concept of what they're eating. They don't know how much fat they're eating. They don't know how many carbohydrates they're eating. They don't even know how many calories they're eating. They're clueless. So when it comes to changing, they don't know what to do. Then they change and they'll buy a book. They'll buy a book, the South Beach diet, the Zone diet, the this diet, the that diet. But they don't write down what they're doing. Once again, they don't write it down. After 2 weeks, they become annoyed and frustrated. They're not getting the results they want, so they go to another diet. 2 weeks later, another diet. 2 weeks later, another diet. But they've never kept a log. You need to put a little bit of effort into this. If you put just a little bit of effort into it, I guarantee you'll see results. You absolutely will see results. Another tip, hi Carla, how you doing? Another tip that I like to tell people is, get a buddy. These are all ways that we're looking to stay on a plan, right? A way to stay on a plan is to make yourself accountable. You want to make yourself accountable to people. And unfortunately, if all of us were accountable to ourselves, you'd see much much less obesity. You'd see more fit people, healthier people walking around. But for whatever reason, human beings are really, really good at letting themselves down. But they're not good at letting other people down. If you find people in your life that you feel accountable to, if you find people in your life, maybe it's your mom, your dad, your sister, a coworker, somebody that you tell them, you know what, this is a goal of mine, and I want you to kind of help me with this. I want you to reinforce this for me. A lot of times that will help keep people on track because they don't want to let people down. It makes them feel inadequate. It makes them feel like they failed. And that's what you want. You want to feel like you failed a little bit. If you feel like you failed, it gives you the strength, it gives you the power to go forward and try to make bigger changes. Now you can also take that one step further. You could actually go to an online community. You can make it known. For instance, on Angry Trainer Fitness, we did an October diet challenge, obviously last October. And it worked out really, really well. We had this little community of people. Everybody was writing in on the Facebook page saying what they did that day, what they ate that day. These little challenges, these little communities, there's tons of online communities where you can join up. You can tell people who you are. You can tell them what your goals are. They're all accountable to each other. You can check in once a day. Some of them will send text messages to your phone as reminders. And it's kind of like the Weight Watchers plan where you have to go and you have to weigh in and you're part of a support group. Those are key. Those will help keep you on the plan. You can't just say I'm going to get on a plan and not do anything about it. So get a buddy, join an online group for a bigger scale, tell someone you respect, obviously, for accountability, get the calendar, pick a plan that works for you, be realistic, and above all, you've got to give the plan a chance. 4 weeks, you reevaluate, you can readjust. I always say a fitness plan is like building a house. The architect will always draw the plans. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this. I hate to use this, but it really is true. The architect draws the plans, but you know what? When the plans are drawn, when they actually get into building the house, things always change. The wall doesn't line up the way it was supposed to. The bathroom was supposed to be over there, but you know what? It needs to be moved over 4 inches because they need to make adjustments. And that's the same way you need to approach your fitness plan. But at the core, you still need to stick to the plan. They don't just knock the whole house down and go build another house because one wall doesn't fit. They readjust. They reevaluate. They might compromise. They might have to readjust, where things are and, how big it has to be. But at the end of the day, the picture, the overall picture of what the architect drew is going to be represented in the drawing. And that's the same way you should approach your fitness and your health. You have to stick to the plan. So Carla wants to know, are we having a specific kind of diet? I do all different types of diet, Carla. At the end of the day, I promote healthy eating through use of whole foods. Obviously stay away from processed, refined foods. When you shop, if you've ever heard I'm going to do this around the screen here. Let me see if I can do this backwards. This is so weird. There we go. Down and across. Wow, I did it. Angry Trainer is smart after all. They always say shop the perimeter of the supermarket. And the reason why they say shop the perimeter of the supermarket is because that's where your fruits and your vegetables are. That's where your meats are. Even though I'm not a big fan of dairy, that's where you're going to find your dairy. You're going to find some yogurt. Generally, you're going to find the healthier foods in the perimeter of the supermarket. So you want to stay away from the aisles. You want to stay away from stuff that's boxed. And a lot of people are, they're into calorie counting. And I agree that calorie counting is important. It is important. You can't dismiss the importance of knowing how much calories you're taking in versus how much you're using. But the truth of the matter is that if people ate fruits, if people ate vegetables, if people ate lean meats, nuts and seeds, you wouldn't really have to count calories because almost no one would overeat. And this is interesting, and I'll tell you this, the new Weight Watchers point system actually has free fruit on it, which means if you join Weight Watchers now, they don't make you count calories. When it comes to fruit, fruits and vegetables are free. Now, I wrote a post on this, obviously, because we were doing a series called Diet Diagnosis. And to me, I thought that eating unlimited fruit was just ridiculous. I didn't see how you could not count it. But I recently met somebody, and this is just last week, and they made a very valid point. They said, you know what? I don't count my apples, but I'm only eating 2 a day. I don't count my oranges, but I'm only eating, I'm eating also 2 of those a day. And when I started thinking about it, I said to myself, how many people are really going to sit down and chug an entire basket of apples? None. How many people are going to eat 10 bananas? None. So it's the calories count, but because you're not going to overeat it, and because the fruit is bulky and fibrous and you have to chew it and it provides fiber and it slows digestion, it actually aids in weight loss, because by eating the fruit, people are going to be eating less of the other foods, which in turn is going to lower their calories. So, whole foods, unprocessed, low sodium, low sugar, lean meats, proteins, healthy fats, that's always what I advocate. Rich wants to know, what are my best tips for staying motivated? Willpower. It's interesting that you asked this, because I just gave up peanut butter. I gave up peanut butter, I gave up tortilla chips, stone ground natural tortilla chips, not with wheat, which I never ate, and I gave up diet soda. And the reason why I gave them up is because my willpower was actually, it was just lagging. I wrote a post about this as well. And for me, a lot of fitness is, don't get me wrong, you can apply the same principles to probably 99% of the people. But there comes a time when people have to know themselves and what works for them. And I know that what works for me is when I'm overindulging in a particular food, even if it's a healthy food, such as peanut butter and tortilla chips, I can't moderate it. I can't go from eating too much to eating less on a smaller scale. What works for me personally is to eliminate it from my diet. I just take it out. Once I take it out and I'm away from it for a month or two, I can then go back to it and I can be okay with not having it. Food becomes so habitual and it becomes so social that many times people are eating when they're not hungry. They're eating when just because they're trying to fill an emotional void. And just because you're doing that with healthy food doesn't mean that it's that much better for you. And that's exactly what I was doing. So my tip for staying motivated is to just keep thinking about the end result. If you just keep that in the forefront of your mind and you keep saying to yourself, this is, this is where I want to get. You have to keep saying to yourself, this is where I want to get, and this is how I'm going to get there. That's how you stay motivated. Willpower is something, I know some people that, can look at something and not eat it. I know other people that if it's anywhere near them, they just can't resist. Somebody's also saying they get off track very easily when they start to slip up. Absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it, especially if you're somebody who's in decent shape. That's the problem. The problem is that if you're in halfway decent shape, you feel good and you look pretty good, I think it's easier to slip up. Some of the people that I found that have the strongest willpower are actually people who are most overweight, because they desperately want to change. They desperately want to lose weight. When you're kind of like 5 pounds overweight, it's not really enough of a stimulus, which is kind of like a cop-out, but it's true. So you really need to stay honed in on the task. It's interesting because I meet so many people that are so driven in life, they're so successful in business, in other aspects and other facets of their life, they're geniuses. They create these amazing programs, they stick to the plan, and they do great. Yet when it comes to fitness and diet and exercise, they fail miserably on their face. It's one of those things. It's different personality types work differently with different motivation. Carla says she got confused lately with my different diets. She listens to her body and she feeds the right things. That's exactly right. Well, Carla, you have to understand that one of the ways that I promote myself here at Angry Trainer Fitness is I'm a fitness guinea pig. So instead of just writing some reviews on diets, I'm starting to try them. I did the intermittent fasting diet. Now I'm trying a slightly different diet, which I'm going to publish some of the information for, but there really is no better way to tell people how things work and how well they're going to do than unless you try it yourself. Then I can give you the ins and outs of, this diet is good because here's the pros of this diet, here's the cons of that diet. I mean, of course, I'd love to eat the same thing for the rest of my life, and I do for the most part. But I change things up a little bit. I might do the intermittent fasting. I might do a high protein diet. I might do a high fat diet, healthy fat diet. All these different types of diets in order to really give my readers and people who like Angry Trainer Fitness some really, really accurate information and firsthand experience, not just what I think about something by reading it. So we have another question. Is there a minimum number of days you should work out each week to get results? I think there is a minimum, of course. And in the beginning, that minimum is a lot less. When you don't exercise, when you first start the plan, you're going to see results almost right away. because you're not exercising. It's a new stimulus for your body. The tendency is for people who actually don't exercise at all when they get on a new plan, the tendency is to do a lot. And that's actually a mistake in my mind, because what I like to tell people is do the minimal amount you need to do in order to see a result. That's the best way, I think, that people should try to get a result from something. So in the beginning, I always tell people 2 to 3 days a week, half an hour at a time. And then this is coming from a point of sedentary lifestyle. This is coming from a point of not doing anything. If you're sedentary, shoot for 2 to 3 days a week of 30 minutes of exercise. If you don't miss for a month, okay, for 4 weeks straight, you haven't missed a workout, then I suggest you bump it up a little bit. Maybe go to 4 days for 30 minutes, 35, maybe 40 minutes. If again, you don't miss for the next 4 weeks. Now you're in your second month of training, you're beginning week 1 of your third month. Then I would say go to maybe a 5th day if you want and shoot for 45 minutes to an hour. Now, of course, this all depends on the type of training that you're doing. Some people exercise so intensely, you know what, they need 3 days of full rest. You know, people have this hard time grasping the concept of rest. They feel like that if they're not in the gym, they're not making progress. The truth is that the progress is made outside of the gym. You get stronger, you get fitter, you get healthier when you're not working out. Exercise is just the stimulus to get your body to adapt, to try to make your body be better. You know, this is one of the fundamental, statements that people don't grasp. They do not understand what exercise is. Exercise is a stimulus to get your body to adapt to what you're asking it to do. And if you approach every exercise with that in mind, you'll start to understand. This is why people don't understand when they take yoga. You have to walk into a yoga class and you have to say, by doing this, what am I asking of my body? Well, you're asking your body to be a little bit stronger, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more limber, and of course, you're going to get the mental aspect of it. There's no doubt about that. When you lift heavy weights, what are you asking of your body? You're saying to your body, guess what? See that big weight on the floor over there? I want you to be able to pick that up. So how does your body adapt to that? Well, it's simple. It adapts by getting stronger and by growing bigger muscles. Every exercise has a specific response that makes your body adapt. That's the core of what exercise is. Carla says she's working out 6 days a week. She's not freaking out about timing. If a workout takes an hour or less, she's good. But do I think it's too much? I do think 6 days a week, an hour per day is too much if it's an intense workout. Now, if you're just going and you're doing if you vary your intensity levels, that's fine. I still like to take 2 full days off from the gym. I like to take 2 complete days where I do nothing. No exercise, none of that stuff. That's just my personal way of looking at it. My workouts are hard enough, they're intense enough that I know my body, it needs 2 full days. You know, the best way to judge this is really how you feel. If you feel energetic every day and you can do 6 days a week with only 1 day off, then good for you. Most people that I've met, if they take the additional day off, while mentally and psychologically it may kind of mess them up a little bit, the truth of the matter is that when they go back to the gym, they feel better. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but maybe you've gone away on vacation, maybe something has come up and you haven't been able to get to the gym for 3 or 4 days. This has certainly happened to me, and it's driving you crazy because you feel like you're getting fat, you feel like you're getting out of shape. Of course, we know logically these are all ridiculous, but what happens when you go back to the gym after 3 or 4 days of rest? You have an amazing workout, you feel fantastic, you're strong. That should be a sign to you that rest is important. You want to make sure that when you look at your exercise program, you're exercising for your body as much as you're exercising for your mentality. A lot of people will they'll exercise too much where it's more a mental benefit for them rather than a physical benefit. They exercise far beyond the stimulus that's good for their body. Raj wants to know, what are my rules on cheat meals and cheat days? It's interesting. If you're somebody who can moderate it, 1 cheat meal per week is fine. On some of these diets that you have out now, like the intermittent fasting diet, there was a complete day of cheating. It wasn't just 1 meal. You got to eat whatever you want the entire day. I think it's okay, to be perfectly honest with you, if you're someone who can regiment it. The problem is that if let's say you make Sunday your cheat day because it's a family day. If you can stop Monday morning, then more power to you. You do well Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes as a day you look forward to, and you really want, you've worked for that cheat meal, you worked for that cheat day. Good for you, as long as it doesn't spill over. You know, this is again where sort of when I came back to before talking about knowing your own mentality and knowing what works for you. If you're someone who can't control it, it's really, really difficult. But you have to approach it in a smart way. And the truth is that cheat meals actually can stimulate more weight loss. You know, your body's adaptive. It gets used to what you're doing. After 2 weeks on a diet, 3 weeks on a diet of eating completely clean and your calories are lower, you know, sometimes it's a really good stimulus, both hormonally and you've got some releases going on. You take in a bunch of food. Now, that's not an excuse to go out and eat Burger King, McDonald's, French fries. Can you have a little bit of French fries? Yeah, of course. You can have a slice of pizza, but you don't want to go out and eat baskets and, you know, thousands and thousands of calories of junk food. That's not what a cheat day is. A cheat day is more calories, maybe a couple of treats here and there. So I say at least one cheat day a week. The closer you get to your goal and the lower your body fat gets, you know, sometimes you have to have more than one cheat meal. But again, this is all individual to each person. Somebody says that Miss Transformation says that they rarely take a day off. It's hard for you to do. It's hard for you to do mentally, correct? Is that what I'm understanding? You know, again, this is something I had to learn. I've learned it from bicep surgery, neck surgery, left shoulder reconstructed, hernia surgery. There's a very fine line, and I say this all the time. There's a fine line between exercising enough to produce a stimulus for health and fitness and too much that becomes detrimental for your body. And I can tell you that I definitely exercise too much. There's no question about it because I'm interested in the look. Of course, I always say look fit, be fit. You don't want to just look fit, you want to actually be fit. All of our training, all of our exercise, I'm going to get a little angry trainer philosophical on you right now in these last couple of minutes here. All of our training is geared towards looking a particular way. But you know what exercise really is? Do you know why we need to exercise? The reason why we need to exercise is because we're no longer active, because we don't live in a jungle anymore, because we don't hunt our food, because we don't build our shelter. Exercise is supposed to replicate the normal activity that we would be getting as human beings if we were walking the face of this planet without everything that we've created for it. That's what exercise is. Trust me when I tell you, there was no caveman or cavewoman walking around that looked like me or any other fitness professional or any female fitness professional. They didn't look like that. They were smaller, they were leaner, they were muscular, but they were muscular in a way in which they had to use their body. So I know what you're saying, that it's hard for you to take a day off for yourself mentally, but you have to. It's just that simple. The angry trainer says you need to take at least a day off. I'm sure you'll feel better. Figure out something else to do. Would there be a reason why, another question, would there be a reason why someone would gain weight in the first week or two of lifting, like 6 pounds in 7 days? This is coming from Golf Nut. It's actually very, very common to gain weight when you first start working out. 6 pounds in 7 days is a lot, but you know, I'm going to tell you why. When you first start working out, one of the things your body does is it adapts by storing more muscle glycogen. It starts putting more sugar in the muscle cell. You know, if you're just walking around daily life every day, your body's only going to store as much fuel in the muscle tissue as it needs for what you're asking of it. You're not really asking very much of it. You're getting to your car, you're walking, you're doing this, you're doing that. Once you start exercising and you start depleting those muscle glycogen cells and you start dropping those sugar levels down, once again, this is adaptation. Your body will start to store more sugar in the body because it says, you know what? You know, Golf Nut is asking me to do more. I need more energy because they're taking me to the gym every day and they're working my shoulders and all these muscles I've never worked before. And with every bit of muscle glycogen that goes in there, your body also holds on to a little bit more water. So you could absolutely gain weight. You're going to gain sugar weight and water weight. That's why in the first week, sometimes you'll start to see your muscles actually change shape a little bit. They look a little bit rounder. They might feel a little bit firmer. They have a different shape. Your clothes might be a little bit tighter. That's the sugar, the water. It's swelling you up. You're blowing up a little bit. So it's absolutely, but it's most likely not going to be fat weight. Golf Nut, day 8 of Fit Studio workout. Feeling better. Terrific. Which one are you doing? There's a lot of great stuff on Fit Studio. So here we are, we're at 9:30 already. I might have to start making these chats longer. I want to thank all of you for joining. This has been a lot of fun. I'm hoping that I've given you at least one tip. You know, I've gone to so many seminars, so many different continuing ed things that I always say to myself, if I walk out of here with just one thing, if I come out of this seminar with just one piece of information that helps me along, then I'm going to consider it a success. Hopefully I've said something to you tonight that resonated with you, that will help you approach your fitness and your health in a different way. And of course, all you have to do is go to www.angrytrainerfitness.com for all of your fitness needs. Of course, you've got to remember, I hope you're following me if you're subscribed to me on my YouTube channel. If you don't know, Shape Magazine voted us one of the top 10 exercise videos on YouTube, so big props to Angry Trainer. Of course, Facebook me, Angry Trainer Fitness fan page. Lots of great information. The community is really growing there. And you can follow me on Twitter at Angry Trainer Fit. So you're very welcome. You're doing the Real Strength program. Awesome. Very cool. And you're very welcome. I love doing these chats. Please spread the word. These are only going to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm going to talk about some really cool stuff in the future. And of course, I would be remiss without thanking my production company, Savannah Media. Without them, none of this would be possible. And I'm having a great time in Angry Trainer Fitness, and I hope you guys are all loving what we're doing, because this is a blast and a dream come true for me. So it's 9:31. I'm a minute over, but that's okay because I'm the boss. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to eat some steamed chicken, because that's what the Angry Trainer eats at 9:30 at night. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week. Same angry time, same angry place. UStream chat next week, 9 p.m. EST. Tell your friends, tell everybody. We're going to have a good time, okay? Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.